Hey guys, let's get started with part 4 of our Wonder Read Aloud, which is from Jack's point of view. Now here is my secret. It is very simple. It is only with one's heart that one can see clearly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, The Little Prince. The call. So in August, my parents got this call from Mr. Tushman, the middle school director, and my mom said maybe he calls all the new students to welcome them. And my dad said that's a lot of kids he'd be calling. So my mom called him back and I could hear her talking to Mr. Tushman on the phone. This is exactly what she said. "Oh, hi, Mr. Tushman. This is Amanda Will returning your call." Pause. "Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you to say. He's looking forward to it." Pause. "Yes." Pause. "Yeah." Pause. "Oh, sure." Long pause. "Oh, uh-huh." Pause. "Well, that's so nice of you to say." Pause. "Sure. Oh, wow. Oh, super." Long pause. "I see. Of course. I'm sure he will. Let me write it down." "Got it. I'll call you after I've had a chance to talk to him, okay?" Pause. "No, thank you for thinking of him. Bye-bye." And when she hung up, I was like, "What's up? What did he say?" And Mom said, "Well, it's actually very flattering, but kind of sad too. See, there's this boy who's starting middle school this year, and he's never been in a real school environment before because he was homeschooled. So Mr. Tushman talked to some of the lower school teachers to find out who they thought were some of the really, really great kids coming into 5th grade. And the teachers must have told him you were an especially nice kid, which I already knew, of course. And so Mr. Tushman is wondering if he could count on you to sort of shepherd this new boy around a bit. Like, let him hang out with me?" I said. "Exactly," said Mom. "He called it being a welcome buddy." "But why me?" "I told you. Your teachers told Mr. Tushman that you were the kind of kid who's known for being a good egg. I mean, I'm so proud that they think so highly of you. Why is it sad?" "What do you mean?" "You said it's flattering, but kind of sad too." "Oh," Mom nodded. "Well, apparently this boy has some sort of, I guess there's something wrong with his face, or something like that. Not sure. Maybe he was in an accident. Mr. Tushman said he'd explain a bit more when you came to school next week." "School doesn't start till September." "He wants you to meet the kid before school starts." "Do I have to?" Mom looked a bit surprised. "Well, no, of course not," she said. "But it would be the nice thing to do, Jack." "If I don't have to do it," I said, "I don't want to do it. Can you at least think about it?" "I'm thinking about it, and I don't want to do it." "Well, I'm not going to force you," she said, "but at least think about it some more, okay? I'm not calling Mr. Tishman back until tomorrow, so just sit with it a bit. I mean, Jack, I really don't think it's much to ask that you spend a little extra time with some new kid." "It's not just that he's a new kid, Mom," I answered. "He's deformed." "That's a terrible thing to say, Jack." "He is, Mom." "You don't even know who it is." "Yeah, I do," I said, because I knew the second she started talking about him that it was this kid named August. Why I changed my mind. "Who else did Mr. Tushman call?" I asked Mom later that night. "Did he tell you?" "He mentioned Julian and Charlotte." "Julian!" I said. "Ugh, why Julian?" "You used to be friends with Julian." "Mom, that was like in kindergarten. Julian's the biggest phony there is, and he's trying so hard to be popular all the time." "Well," said Mom, "at least Julian agreed to help this kid out. Gotta give him credit for that." I didn't say anything because she was right. "What about Charlotte?" I asked. "Is she doing it too?" "Yes," Mom said. "Of course she is. Charlotte's such a giddy two-shoes," I answered. "Boy, Jack," said Mom, "you seem to have a problem with everybody these days." "It's just," I started. "Mom, you have no idea what this kid looks like." "I can imagine." "No, you can't. You've never seen him." "I have." "It might not even be who you're thinking it is." "Trust me, it is. And I'm telling you, it's really, really bad. He's deformed, Mom. His eyes are like down here." I pointed to my cheeks. "And he has no ears, and his mouth is like..." Jamie had walked into the kitchen to get a juice box from the fridge. "Ask Jamie," I said. "Right, Jamie? Remember the kid we saw in the park after school last year? The kid named August, the one with the face?" "Oh, that kid?" said Jamie, his eyes opening wide. "He gave me a nightmare. Remember, Mommy, that nightmare about the zombies from last year?" "I thought that was from watching a scary movie," answered Mom. "No," said Jamie. "It was from seeing that kid. When I saw him, I was like, ah! And I ran away." Wait a minute, said Mom, getting serious. Did you do that in front of him? I couldn't help it, said Jamie, kind of whining. Of course you could help it, Mom scolded. Guys, I have to tell you, I'm really disappointed by what I'm hearing here. And she looked like how she sounded. I mean, honestly, he's just a little boy, just like you. Can you imagine how he felt seeing you run away from him? Jamie screaming? It wasn't a scream, argued Jamie. It was like a, ah! He put his hands on his cheeks and started running around the kitchen. Come on, Jamie, Mom said angrily. I honestly thought both of my boys were more sympathetic than that. What's sympathetic? Said Jamie, who was only going into the second grade. You know exactly what I mean by sympathetic, Jamie, said Mom. It's just, he's so ugly, Mommy, said Jamie. Hey, Mom yelled. I don't like that word. Jamie, just get your juice box. I want to talk to Jack alone for a second. Look, Jack, said Mom as soon as he left, and I knew she was about to give me a whole speech. Okay, I'll do it, I said, which completely shocked her. You will? Yes, so I can call Mr. Tushman. Yes, Mom, yes, I said yes. Mom smiled. I knew you'd rise to the occasion, kiddo. Good for you. I'm proud of you, Jackie. She messed up my hair. So here's why I changed my mind. It wasn't so I wouldn't have to hear Mom give me a whole lecture, and it wasn't to protect this August kid from Julian, who I knew would be a jerk about the whole thing. It was because when I heard Jamie talking about how he had run away from August going, ah! I suddenly felt really bad. The thing is, there are always going to be kids like Julian who are jerks, but if a little kid like Jamie, who's usually a nice enough kid, can be that mean, then a kid like August doesn't stand a chance in middle school. Ex-friends. Bleeding scream? What the heck? Summer Dawson has always been a bit out there, but this was too much. All I did was ask her why August was acting like he was mad at me or something. I figured she would know, and all she said was bleeding scream. I don't even know what that means. It's so weird because one day me and August were friends, and the next day, whoosh, he was hardly talking to me, and I haven't the slightest idea why. When I said to him, hey August, you mad at me or something? He shrugged and walked away. So I would take that as a definite yes. And since I know for a fact that I didn't do anything to him to be mad about, I figured Summer could tell me what's up. But all I got from her was a bleeding scream. Yeah, big help. Thanks, Summer. You know, I've got plenty of other friends in school, so if August wants to officially be my ex-friend, then fine. That's okay by me. See if I care. I've started ignoring him like he's ignoring me in school now. This is actually kind of hard since we sit next to each other in practically every class. Other kids have noticed and have started asking me if me and August have had a fight. Nobody asks August what's going on. Hardly anyone ever talks to him anyway. I mean, the only person he hangs out with other than me is Summer. Sometimes he hangs out with Reed Kingsley a little bit, and the two Maxes got him playing Dungeons and Dragons a couple of times at recess. Charlotte, for all her goody two-shoeing, doesn't even do more than nod hello when she's passing him in the hallway. And I don't know if everyone's still playing the Plague behind his back because no one ever really told me about it directly. But my point is that it's not like he has a whole lot of other friends he could be hanging out with instead of me. If he wants to diss me, he's the one who loses, not me. So this is how things are between us now. We only talk to each other about school stuff if we absolutely have to. Like I'll say, what did Ruben say the homework was? And he'll answer, or he'll be like, can I use your pencil sharpener? And I'll get my sharpener out of my pencil case for him. But as soon as the bell rings, we go our separate ways. Why this is good is because I get to hang out with a lot more kids now. Before, when I was hanging out with August all the time, kids were hanging out without me, weren't hanging out with me because they'd have to hang out with him. Or they would keep things from me, like the whole thing about the Plague. I think I was the only one who wasn't in on it, except for Summer and maybe the D&D crowd. And the truth is, though, nobody's that obvious about it. Nobody wants to hang out with him. Everyone's way too hung up on being in the popular group, and he's just as far from the popular group as you can get. But now I can hang out with anyone I want. If I wanted to be in the popular group, I could totally be in the popular group. Why this is bad is because, well, A, I don't actually enjoy hanging out with the popular group that much, and B, I actually like hanging out with August. So this is kind of messed up, and it's all August's fault. In science. I'm not the greatest student in the world. I know some kids actually like school, but I honestly can't say that I do. I like some parts of school, like PE and computer class, and lunch and recess, but all in all, I'd be fine without school. And the thing I hate the most about school is all the homework we get. It's not enough that we have to sit through class after class and try to stay awake while they fill our heads with all this stuff we will probably never need to know, like how to figure out the surface area of a cube or what the difference is between kinetic and potential energy. I'm like, who cares? I've never ever heard my parents say the word kinetic in my entire life. I hate science the most out of all my classes. We get so much work, it's not even funny. And the teacher, Miss Rubin, is so strict about everything, even the way we write our headings at the top of our papers. I once got 2 points off a homework assignment because I didn't put the date on top. Crazy stuff. When me and August were still friends, I was doing okay in science because August sat next to me and always let me copy his notes. August has the neatest handwriting of anybody I've ever seen who's a boy. Even his script is neat. Up and down perfectly, with really small, round, loopy letters. But now that we're ex-friends, it's bad because I can't ask him to let me copy his notes anymore. So I was kind of scrambling today trying to take notes about what Miss Rubin was saying. My handwriting is awful. When all of a sudden she started talking about the 5th grade science fair project, how we all had to choose a science project to work on. While she was saying this, I was thinking, we just finished the freaking Egypt project, now we have to start a whole new thing. And then in my head I was going, oh no, like that kid in Home Alone with his mouth hanging open and his hands on his face. That was the face I was making on the inside. And then I thought of those pictures of melting ghost faces I've seen somewhere where the mouths are open wide and they're screaming. And then all of a sudden this picture flew into my head, this memory, and I knew what Summer had meant by bleeding scream. It's so weird how it all just came to me in this flash. Someone in homeroom had dressed up in a bleeding scream costume on Halloween. I remember seeing him a few desks away from me, and then I remember not seeing him again. Oh man, it was August! All of this hit me in science class while the teacher was talking. Oh man. I'd been talking to Julian about August. Oh man. Now I understood. I was so mean. I don't even know why. I'm not even sure what I said, but it was bad. It was only a minute or two. It's just that I knew Julian and everybody thought I was weird. I was so weird for hanging out with August all the time, and I felt stupid. And I don't know why I said that stuff. I just was going along. I was stupid. I am stupid. Oh God. He was supposed to come as Boba Fett. I would never have said that stuff in front of Boba Fett, but that was him. That bleeding scream sitting at the desk looking over at us. The long white mask with fake squirting blood, the mouth open wide like the ghoul was crying. That was him. I felt like I was going to puke. Partners. I didn't hear a word of what Miss Rubin was saying after that. Blah, blah, blah. Science fair project, blah, blah, blah. Partners, blah, blah. It was like the way grown-ups talk in the Charlie Brown movies. Like someone talking underwater. Wah, 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 wah. Then, all of a sudden, Miss Rubin started pointing to kids around the class. Reed and Tristan, Maya and Max, Charlotte and Ximena, August and Jack. She pointed to us when she said this. Miles and Amos, Julian and Henry, Savannah and... I didn't hear the rest. Huh? I said. The bell rang. So don't forget to get together with your partners to choose a project from the list. Guys, said Miss Rubin as everyone started taking off. I looked up at August, but he had already put his backpack on and was practically out the door. I must have had a stupid look on my face because Julian came over and said, "Looks like you and your best buds are partners." He was smirking when he said this. I hated him so much right then. "Hello, Earth to Jack Will," he said. When I didn't answer him, "Shut up, Julian." I was putting my loose leaf binder away in my backpack and just wanted him away from me. "You must be so bummed you got stuck with him," he said. "You should tell Miss Rubin you want to switch partners. I bet she'd let you." "No, she wouldn't," I said. "Ask her." "No, I don't want to." "Miss Rubin," Julian said, turning around and raising his hand at the same time. Miss Rubin was erasing the chalkboard at the front of the room. She turned when she heard her name. "No, Julian," I screamed. "What is it, boys?" she said impatiently. "Could we switch partners if we wanted to?" said Julian, looking very innocent. "Me and Jack had the science fair project we wanted to work on together." "Well, I guess we could arrange that," she started to say. "No, it's okay, Miss Rubin," I said quickly, heading out the door. "Bye!" Julian ran after me. "Why'd you say that?" he said, catching up to me at the stairs. "We could have been partners. You don't have to be friends with that freak if you don't want to be, you know." And that's when I punched him right in the mouth. Detention. Some things you just can't explain. You don't even try. You don't know where to start. All your sentences just jumble up like a giant knot if you opened your mouth. Any words you use would come out wrong. "Jack, this is very, very serious," Mr. Tushman was saying. I was in his office, sitting on a chair across from his desk and looking at this picture of a pumpkin on the wall behind him. "Kids get expelled for this kind of thing. Jack, I know you're a good kid, and I don't want that to happen, but you have to explain yourself." "This is so not like you, Jack," said Mom. She had come from work as soon as they had called her. I could tell she was going back and forth between being really mad and really surprised. "I thought you and Julians were friends," said Mr. Tushman. "We're not friends," I said. My arms were crossed in front of me. "But to punch someone in the mouth, Jack?" said Mom, raising her voice. "I mean, what were you thinking?" She looked at Mr. Tushman. "Honestly, he's never hit anyone before. He's just not like that." "Julian's mouth was bleeding, Jack," said Mr. Tushman. "You knocked a tooth out. Did you know that?" "It was just a baby tooth," I said. "Jack," said Mom, shaking her head. "That's what Nurse Molly said." "You're missing the point," Mom yelled. "I just want to know why," said Mr. Tushman, raising his shoulders. "It'll just make everything worse," I sighed. "Just tell me, Jack." I shrugged, but I didn't say anything. I just couldn't. If I told him that Julian had called August a freak, then he'd go talk to Julian about it, then Julian would tell him how I had badmouthed August too, and everybody would find out about it. "Jack," said Mom. I started to cry. "I'm sorry." Mr. Tushman raised his eyebrows and nodded, but he didn't say anything. Instead, he kind of blew into his hands like you do when your hands are cold. "Jack," he said, "I don't really know what to say here. I mean, you punched a kid. We have rules about that kind of thing, you know. Automatic expulsion. And you're not even trying to explain yourself." I was crying a lot by now, and the second Mom put her arms around me, I started to bawl. "Let's, said Mr. Tushman, taking his glasses off to clean them. "Let's do this, Jack. We're out for winter break as of next week anyway. How about you stay home for the rest of this week, and then after winter break you'll come back and everything will be fresh and brand new. Clean slate, so to speak." "Am I being suspended?" I sniffled. "Well," he said, shrugging, "technically yes, but it's only for a couple of days, and I'll tell you what, while you're at home, you take the time to think about what's happened, and if you want to write me a letter explaining what happened, and a letter to Julian apologizing, then we won't even put any of this in your permanent record, okay? You go home and talk about it with your mom and dad, and maybe in the morning you'll figure it all out a bit more." "That sounds like a good plan, Mr. Tushman," said Mom, nodding. "Thank you." "Everything is going to be okay," said Mr. Tushman, walking over to the door, which was closed. "I know you're a nice kid, Jack, and I know that sometimes even nice kids do dumb things. Right?" He opened the door. "Thank you for being so understanding," said Mom, shaking his hand at the door. "No problem." He leaned over and told her something quietly that I couldn't hear. "I know. Thank you," said Mom, nodding. "So, kiddo," he said to me, putting his hands on my shoulder, "think about what you've done, okay? And have a great holiday. Happy Chanukah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa." I wiped my nose with my sleeves and started walking out the door. "Say thank you to Mr. Tushman," said Mom, tapping on my shoulder. I stopped and turned around, but I couldn't look at him. "Thank you, Mr. Tushman," I said. "Bye, Jack," he answered. Then I walked out the door.